So if you were to scale from 1 to 5, 1 being the lowest of importance and 5 being the highest of importance, where does respect and honoring fall for you guys?
I don't know. For me, I'm going to say 5, of course.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I
Five.
think, although Des was saying earlier, there's a lot of things that you have to work on, but there are some things that just fell into sync.
Yeah.
It just comes because when you have that type of relationship, that's what makes it. The respect, the love, and all of that. That's when you realize you found the person that's going to be in your life, be it friendship, be it relationship, outside love relationship with a partner. That's what defines that. And I didn't have to work at that. That I knew that these ladies
Yeah.
were my sisters. I didn't have to think about it. I didn't have to fight for it. It just fell into sync. So for me,
Yeah.
And that would it be the same for you guys too?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'd say 5 for me because it's important. Respect is important. Although we go back, long time, but they're still separate individuals. And if you don't respect the individual first, it doesn't work. I respect who they are separately, and then I can accept them, and then that's what makes it important, or
That's
make
all
it
the
work.
way that we were raised as well. We're raised to be respectful to people, and I think that it's not when you say like, oh, I never. You ask me questions sometimes, like you asked me before, like I have to really think about this. I never thought about that in a sense
That's
with
so
my
true.
girls. It's like they
a
have
given.
done nothing to
Natural.
me to never not respect them, and that's for me, that's the way I was raised, and maybe that's why we click as well. We have that. We know you're supposed to respect people. It's just funny because I'm like, oh my gosh, like how do I put that in a number? I guess it would be 5, but you don't think about that. You just, with my girls, I just am. It just am. And
So for those listening, especially the younger generation out there that are actually following with us, right? So my question would be, what would be one of the key stuff that you would say to them as it relates to these 3 topics, right? I believe that when you are participating in a relationship with anyone, I think it's crucial, like you just said, you have to honor the person as they are and as they come to you, okay? Once you accept them into your space, therefore you choose to respect them for who they are, right? And the love comes automatically. And loving and respecting and honoring one another means that it's who you are as an entity, okay? It's who your friends are as an entity. And then you bring them to your space. Therefore, if you are of this particular personality or personal ways, I'm not going to question much about you because I respect who you are as you come to me.
Right.
I've accepted you as such. And I think it's so crucial for anyone in relationship, especially the younger generation, to know that as they engage in relationship with friends, they understand that, yes, you may not like what this one is doing, you may not appreciate it,
Right.
but you know what? You're still a human being. You're still who you represent yourself to be. Therefore, I like you and I respect you for that.
Right.
And everybody
know?
should have that.
Yeah.
Just a common respect for anyone.
Right.
And if you do something that changes it, then oh well, but you'll deal with that at that point. But
Right.
if you come at that place, and I think, yes, respect, but I think not being judgmental, really being humble, to say to yourself, like, the way I think may not be the right way to do it or the only way to do it. If you can say that and actually have a conversation. I've never had any time that I could not open my mouth and talk to these girls. Never. I may be like the subject may be touchy or hard or really deep for me, but never had to pick my words with them. I could be like, blah, 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 they're like, I get it, I understand. And that helps when you want to, when you want to get someplace.
And I think that also when it comes to different dynamic situations in life, and a couple come to mind, and again, me being an observer of your relationship, and mainly me being your cousin, so I have a little bit more tools to play with. But I remember what again struck me is how you guys stood beside her being a teenage mom,
Of course.
right? So there was no judgment there. right? It was like, this is what just
We're like,
happened
we're
to
having
me.
a
That
kid.
might have been a defining
The moment.
Maybe.
Yeah.
for
And
our
me being so
relationship,
much
because that was so
younger,
long ago,
and I'm like,
yeah,
oh, damn, like,
absolutely.
you know, I want girls like this because
Absolutely.
it didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was like your friends were there first, then your family, right? It
Yeah.
was like, this is what I'm doing.
Absolutely.
And you guys were there. From
We
that
were
moment.
having a kid.
It was
We
you
were
guys
having a
having a
kid.
kid.
Yeah.
And it was like, all right, no matter what comes after that, it doesn't matter because we got this. You know, so it was a defining moment for me as it relates to what you guys represented into
Yeah.
her life, you know, and,
And
vice
again,
versa.
that's about, you know, when you look around you and say, who was there?
Yeah.
Who was there
Yeah.
when I was at my most
Vulnerable.
vulnerable moment?
Yeah.
And I could say, looking back, every single time, whatever it was for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, always.
And, you know, we're talking about this today, and it's not everybody that's going to have this journey that we have, this opportunity. This isn't something that happens every day.
No.
So if your relationships are not as what we're talking about, doesn't mean it's wrong. It's just different. But I have a special relationship with these ladies, and, you know, it's something to strive for. It's something that, you know, can happen, but everybody's relationship is different. But I know these ladies are here for me through thick and thin, no matter what.
And I, you know, again, speaking to the audience, I kind of feel it's important to mention that it may not, you know, when you look at this dynamic, that we're presenting you ladies because for me, you represent what friendship really, the definition of what friendship is. But it doesn't mean that you can't gain these type of relationships at some point through life, right?
No. Yeah.
This
Right.
had just happened to happen at the time it
Earlier.
happened,
Yeah.
but the journey is just beginning.
Right.
So it could always happen at any given stage in life,
Right.
you know. And I haven't had, you know what? I've always thought I didn't have that, but then when I look back in my journey, I'm like, you know what? I got this one. I got that one. Like, you know, I've had women in my life or friends in my life that I could say, wow, you know what? It may not have started that way, but through the process it has.
Right.
And I'm in a different stage in life right now where I could fully stand and say I have it.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it may not be, maybe it wasn't a priority for me. So it may not be a priority for you guys as you get engaged in these relationships because everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own process. Things happen when it needs to happen and at the time it needs to happen. So I think it's crucial that everyone that's listening, that's watching us talk, understand that, yes, this is beautiful, this is great, this is amazing. I honor you ladies for having that. I respect what you have, but I also know that there's so much more out there that people could look into and can actually start building and to aspire to have.
Right.
So if there's any
Yeah.
source of inspiration here, it's like,
we're
you know
not
what?
friends because of the longevity.
Exactly.
We have longevity because we're friends.
Exactly.
And we started, I think, our friendship maybe when we were 15, 16. We were like, we would have been the same people that we are right now. We're just lucky enough that we found it early. You can always go out there. There are some people in my life that I've met after I got married, maybe 5 years ago, that maybe not here, this is a different thing, but they're good friends of mine. It's not just because you know someone for 10 years, 20 years. That doesn't make a friend. I've known people for 20 years. I would never call them my friend, ever.
Yeah.
And I want to touch base on that topic because that was a very, that was a moment in my life, you know. So in that scenario, making a decision whether I should, you know, continue and have this pregnancy or whatever, I just remember, for those who are listening, what sticks in my mind is everyone, even myself, I was considering a lot of things, but I could remember them both saying, what do you want? You know, and how are we going to get to it? And that's when I made my decision. It took, you know, like they helped me to get to that point, you know. And when you're talking to young girls and, you know, who should your friends be? Okay, not only the friends that like to party and, you know, you have fun with, but they kind of, what do you want? What are you going to do with this kid? What is your, you know, this is it, you know, we having a baby, you know, that kind of thing. So
They force you to think.
Yeah.
They force you to grow up, and they, you know, like, I always loved another thing when that Nadej was talking about that before. These girls will call me on absolutely anything. And I look forward to that. I know when they're saying it to me, it's not, they're not being catty, they're not being jealous. They're saying you're doing something wrong, or that's not cool, or whatever. And you know, I think we always had that, like that, of course we're going to say, what do you want? Because we need to know which way to go. Are we buying clothes, or are we, you know, like, are we doing something else? Like, but it comes from her. And that's the love, that's the respect, that's honoring our friendship, and just being like, we got to take the cue from you. This is your experience. We're here to help you. But what is it that you want to do? How do you want this to go?
Well, thank you for this episode. I think it's such an important episode to have, because I think a lot of people are going through these moments where they're questioning, wondering who's the right person in their life, who do they choose, is it the right energy or not? The reality is you don't need to go out there and seek relationship. The relationship is there. If it needs to happen, it will happen naturally. But remember, it's crucial to learn to not only respect and honor and love yourself first, and that's the only way you could seek it in reciprocity. But it's also important to do it for the people that you're embracing into your space. Not everyone is for you. So it's okay to entertain other relationships, realizing, you know what, maybe that wasn't the right one for me, because if the energy isn't right, then you may need to turn to the right or to the left and change it. You know, you have to embrace the right set of energy that helps feed you, that helps bring you to the next level, that honors who you are, that respects who you are, and who loves you. So if anybody, if you guys could take anything from this episode, it's really, it's crucial to love, honor, and respect yourself and the ones you bring into your space. I look forward to the third episode, because as you know, these ladies have a lot to offer. There's so much to, like, they're very quiet in this episode, so I find it to be like the energy was a little bit more subdued because it's really a lot of introspective talk, but there's so much more to talk about. We will talk about setbacks and triumphs in the next episode, so I look forward to episode 3. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thank you.